In this video, I want to talk about one more thing about verbs. Okay, I want to talk about the fact that verbs can have participles. All right, and all that means is that sometimes you run across words that verbs that are in fact two-word verbs or three-word verbs. Okay, this is particularly the case in English because we don't use inflection a lot. We tend to use modal words. Or a combination of the two. For example, I run to the store. Okay. Run there is the verb, and it's one word, right? But what about I will run? I am running to the store. Let's use that one. I am running to the store. Will run and am running. You got two words there, and they both work together to be that complete verb. Okay, so because now you have two or three words, you can literally take them apart, and you can find that, this is a part of this phrase that is this collection of words that is really acting as a unit as the verb. So, sometimes you'll run across language as you're studying grammar that talks about the participles, okay? The participles of, a verb. The past participle and the present participle. And that is just talking about the collection of verbs that the words that work together in that way for that particular version of the verb. In English, I am running to the store. That's your present. That's am running is your verb. But if you just want to look at the word running in this situation, most grammarians are going to say that's your present participle. It's part of the bigger verb, and it's in the present. Now there's a past participle. It's primarily used in English as an adjective. All right, so I am painting the fence. I was painting. The ing there, the painting, that's always going to be viewed as the present participle or the progressive participle, okay? Because it's indicating action that was happening, right? But what if you say the painted fence made the house look nice? You're looking at the fence, right? And it was painted. Okay. Well, it was painted. I just said it right there, right? The fence was painted. That's your two-word verb, because that's the thing that moves through time, right? I mean, like, let's just take that. The fence was painted. The fence is painted. The fence will be painted. The actual word that is changing is, was, will be, right? That's your core verb. But we know that the second word also goes with it. The fence was painted. It's a two-word verb, if you will. The fence is painted. The fence will be painted. Now, you can see one part of it actually changing as you move it through time, and that indicates that this is your main verb. But the fence was painted. That's in the past, and we throw on the ed as art inflection. We still use this to indicate the action that was ongoing for a bit, but then completed, painted. The fence was painted. So that's called your past participle. You got your past participle, you got your present participle. And in English, really, those are the two that we have. It's just painting or painted. Eating, eaten. I have eaten. Okay. Things like that. So sometimes you'll learn language and you'll realize that they're talking about participles. And that's what they mean. Okay. A participle is just part of another verb. Okay. Now that we're talking about this, let's go ahead and talk about verbals. Okay. So sometimes verbs can be used in ways in a clause where they're not the main verb. Okay. But you can still sort of see that they're related to a verb group or a verb word, right? So at that point, the word for that is a verbal. Let's take sing. All right. Um, um, I sing, you sing, they sing, we sing, whatever. You can see that is acting as a main verb, right? But if I wanted to then put some participles on it, I would be, we are singing, present participle. We have sung. Sung there would be the version of the past participle. Okay. Um, because it's a two-word verb, and as part of the two-word verb, have sung. That's that the end. That second part is going to be called the participle. It doesn't actually change as you move it through time, but it's front the modal word does, and so you can see the two-word verb actually making some linguistic changes as it moves through time. So it still moves through the time test well. But those are your participles, right? Well, what if you take sing and you say singing, but you use it as something other than the main verb, like I love singing. Okay, now that's actually the direct object. Or singing is easy for some people. Now all of a sudden singing is being used as a subject, right? Singing is easy. What's the main verb there? Is. Singing was easy. Singing is easy. Singing will be easy. So that's the verb. Who or what is singing? That fits into the subject slot of that find the subject formula. So because it fits into the subject, as we'll see soon, I'm going to consider that a noun. Yeah, I would call singing a noun here. And people that aren't comfortable with that will say, well, it's not a noun, it's a verbal. In fact, in this case, it's a gerund. The gerund is a ing verb form that can be used as a subject or an object. It can be used as a noun. And I would say, why complicate things by adding all these labels when we can just say it's a noun? Okay, but traditionally, verbs that are not acting like verbs in the clause, but are instead acting like adjectives or nouns or whatnot, they're called verbals. And you have the gerund, you have the participle, because you can use the participle alone as an adjective. The running man. You see what I'm saying? Running water is often clean water. Well, anyway, running there is an adjective to describe the type of water versus standing water. But there's another participle, right? Present participle. And many traditional grammarians will say, we don't want to call these nouns or adjectives because they're coming from verbs. Let's call them verbals. And let's say it has an adjectival sense. And let's call it the progressive participle, right? Or the present participle. And I would say, well, again, let's simplify things and just call it an adjective. But I would break away from the traditional taxonomy to do that. Fortunately, these are not cosmic sense, so I'm like, so what? Let me break away from the taxonomy. I'll make my own here. That works better because it's streamlined. Anyway, you have one other type of verbal called the infinitive. Now, the infinitive is a verb form with the word to in front of it. To sing, to dance, to sleep, to eat, to talk, etc. To cough. We call it the infinitive because it is not bounded by time. It doesn't have tense, right? If I just say to you, to cough alone, you don't know instinctively whether that is spelled out in a present tense way or perfect tense, past tense or future tense or whatnot, as opposed to will cough, right? So to cough, we add the sign. It's called the sign of the infinitive, the to. In English, that's what it is. In Greek, it's a suffix, that you can stick onto a verb's protostem. We call it infinitive because it's not finite. That's literally what it means. It's not finite. It's not bounded by time. It doesn't have a tense, okay? And infinitives can be used as nouns as well. To sing is my aspiration. Is not, but whatever, okay. To sing became her dream. What's the main verb? Let's move it through time. To sing became her dream. To sing becomes her dream. To sing will become her dream. Become is the main verb. Who or what become, or who or what became. To sing became. To sing is the subject of that clause. Because it's the subject, I'm going to make the case that it's a noun. To me, all subjects are nouns. Um, and you have a verb form that is not being used as a main verb at all. It's being used as a noun. So that's a little bit tricky. People will call them verbals. They would call this particular type of verbal an infinitive, and everyone recognizes an infinitive can be used as a noun, and sometimes I would even say sometimes as an adjective, but we'll see. Anyway, these are the verbals, and you are going to run across the infinitive, the word infinitive in your study of a foreign language. You're going to run across the notion of a participle. Okay. Now, past participle, present participle. You know, the more that you get into it, you're going to run across, you know, the other verbals, but these are the most common, the infinitive and the participles. All right, thanks for watching.